There are moments in life when silence is not truly silent because a specific name echoes relentlessly within the walls of your mind. You catch yourself thinking about this person in the middle of a busy day, or perhaps they are the very first thought that greets you when you wake up, and the last image that fades as you drift into sleep. It can feel confusing, sometimes even exhausting, to carry the weight of someone else's presence within your own internal world, especially when you are trying to move forward or focus on your own life. However, I want you to know that this persistent mental presence is not a sign of weakness, nor is it proof that you are losing control of your emotions. It is not necessarily an obsession, though it may feel intense. Rather, it is a complex interplay between your psychology, your emotional history, and the subtle, invisible energy that connects human beings. It signifies that there is unfinished business, not necessarily in the physical world, but deep within the architecture of your soul and your subconscious mind. There is a hidden layer to this experience, a silent language that your intuition is trying to speak to you. When someone takes up residence in your thoughts without an invitation, it is often a signal, a code waiting to be deciphered. Over the course of this journey together, we will explore 10 profound signs and revelations that explain why this happens. We will unravel the mystery of this mental connection, helping you to transform confusion into clarity and heaviness into light. The uninvited guest of the subconscious. The most perplexing aspect of having someone live in your thoughts is the sheer lack of control you seem to have over their arrival. You might be engaged in a completely unrelated task, working on a spreadsheet, driving your car, or reading a menu, when suddenly their face flashes before your inner eye. This involuntary intrusion is the first major sign that this connection is rooted deeply in your subconscious mind. The subconscious does not understand linear time. To this part of your brain, the past, present, and future are often merged into one continuous feeling. When this person appears uninvited, it is often because they have become tethered to a specific emotional frequency that you are currently vibrating at. Perhaps you felt a fleeting sense of loneliness, or conversely, a moment of profound joy. Your mind, seeking a reference point for that emotion, instantly pulls up the file labeled with their name. It is a psychological reflex, a way for your internal system to categorize feelings by attaching them to the person who once made you feel that way most intensely. This is not a failure of your will. It is the machinery of your memory working exactly as it was designed, trying to process complex data through the lens of attachment. Think of your mind in these moments like a vast, deep ocean where the currents move beneath the surface, invisible to the eye, but powerful enough to steer the ship. Even if the surface of the water seems calm, the undercurrents of your subconscious are still swirling with the energy of this connection. The thought of them is merely a bubble rising from the deep, popping at the surface of your conscious awareness. It is a signal that something down there, some memory, some feeling, some unresolved question, is still active and alive. How does it feel when you realize you are not the one conjuring these thoughts, but rather, you are the one receiving them? The resonance of shared vibration. There is a profound difference between thinking about someone because you are trying to remember them and having them flood your awareness because the energetic connection demands it. This sign speaks to the concept of vibrational resonance. In physics and in spirituality, we understand that everything carries a frequency, including our thoughts and emotions. When two people share a significant bond, their frequencies can become entangled, creating a form of resonance that defies physical distance. You think of them because, on some level, Your emotional state is harmonizing with theirs. Consider the times when the thought of them comes with a sudden shift in your mood. You might feel a sudden wave of anxiety or a wash of warmth just moments before they reach out to you, or just as they are going through something significant in their own lives. This is intuition operating through the channel of shared history. Your nervous systems, having spent time co-regulating and interacting, have built a bridge. Even if that bridge is no longer walked upon physically, the cables still hum with tension and information. It is the psychology of attachment meeting the mystery of intuition. I recall a story of a young woman who had not spoken to her childhood friend in years. They had drifted apart without a fight, just the slow erosion of time. One afternoon, while buying flowers, she was overcome by the smell of rain, a scent that reminded her intensely of a summer they spent together. The thought of him was so heavy she had to sit down. She felt a phantom weight in her chest. 2 hours later, she received a message from his sister saying he had been in a minor accident and was asking for her. He was fine, but the shock had sent a ripple through the invisible fabric connecting them, and she had felt the tremor before the news arrived. This phenomenon suggests that our minds are like sensitive radio receivers. When you cannot stop thinking about someone, it may be because you are tuned in to their station, picking up the static and the songs of their current emotional experience. The Zeigarnik effect of the soul. Psychology offers us a fascinating concept known as the Zeigarnik effect, which states that human beings remember uncompleted or interrupted tasks better than completed ones. The mind dislikes open loops. It craves closure and resolution. When a relationship or an interaction ends without a clear period at the end of the sentence, when things are left unsaid or feelings are left ambiguous, your mind keeps the file open on your mental desktop. This person lives in your thoughts because your brain is desperately trying to solve the puzzle of what happened or what if. This mental tension creates a powerful magnetic pole. You replay scenarios not because you're obsessed, but because your psyche is attempting to draft a conclusion. It is trying to find a place to rest. Spiritually, this feels like a contract that hasn't been signed or dissolved. The energy continues to cycle because it has nowhere to land. The what-ifs become the fuel that keeps the engine of thought running long after the vehicle has stopped moving. Imagine a melody that builds and builds, but stops abruptly right before the final resolving note. Your ear waits for that last note. It yearns for it. The silence where that note should be is louder than the music itself. That is what this person represents in your mind, the missing final note. The thoughts you have are your mind humming different endings, trying to finish the song so that it can finally enjoy the silence. Recognizing this helps you understand that the persistence of their memory is often about your need for internal order rather than just the person themselves. The mirror of hidden aspects. Often, the person occupying your mental space is acting as a mirror, reflecting parts of yourself that you have either lost, rejected, or have yet to discover. This is the mechanism of projection, a psychological defense where we attribute qualities to others that actually belong to our own internal landscape. If you find yourself thinking constantly about their confidence, their freedom, or even their coldness, it is a signal that your soul is trying to integrate those very qualities within you. They are the screen upon which your movie is being projected. This is where the spiritual concept of the other as a teacher becomes vital. The intensity of your focus on them is often proportional to the intensity of the work you need to do on yourself. If you miss how they made you feel, you are actually missing the part of yourself that came alive in their presence. You are not just grieving the loss of a person, you are grieving the dormancy of your own light, your own humor, or your own capacity for intimacy. They were the catalyst, but you possess the chemical reaction. Think of this dynamic as standing before a pool of water. You are looking at their reflection, entranced by it. But if you look closer, you realize the water is composed of your own tears, your own depths. The qualities you obsess over are calling to you. If they are in your thoughts, it is because they hold a key to your own potential. The universe is using their image to grab your attention, pointing you back toward your own evolution. The obsession is essentially a misdirected longing for your own wholeness. The phantom conversations. A very common sign that someone has taken up residence in your psyche is the habit of having ongoing, imaginary conversations with them. You might find yourself explaining your day to them in your head, arguing your point in a debate that happened years ago, or telling them about a vulnerability you never dared to share in person. These phantom conversations are not signs of madness. They are the mind's attempt to process emotional conflict and bridge the gap between reality and desire. Psychologically, this is a coping mechanism. It allows you to express emotions that were suppressed, to say the "I love you" or the "I forgive you" or the "I am angry" that got stuck in your throat. It is a way of releasing the pressure valve of your heart. Spiritually, however, thoughts are energy. When you direct this much focused mental dialogue towards someone, you are engaging in a form of telepathic correspondence. You are sending out waves of intent. Often, people report that after days of these intense internal monologues, the other person reaches out, or they feel a sudden shift in the energy of the connection. These conversations are like writing letters that you seal in envelopes but never drop in the mailbox. Yet, in the quantum realm of emotion, the letter is delivered the moment it is written in your heart. The energy of your words travels. The persistence of this dialogue suggests that the communicative bond between you is not severed, merely transformed into a silent, internal frequency. It reveals a longing, not just to be heard by them, but to be truly known. What is the one thing you keep saying to them in the silence of your mind, and why have you not said it to yourself? The dreamscape visitation. When someone infiltrates your dreams, the connection moves from the conscious mind to the deepest realms of the soul. Dreams are the language of the unconscious, speaking in symbols, metaphors, and raw emotion. If this person appears frequently in your sleep, it indicates that your rational defenses are down, and the truth of your feelings is rising to the surface. In the waking world, you can distract yourself with work and noise. In the dream world, you are naked before your own truth. These dreams are rarely literal. They are the mind's way of sorting through the emotional debris left behind by the relationship. If you dream of them leaving, you may be processing your fear of abandonment. If you dream of them returning, you may be exploring your hope or your need for resolution. Spiritually, many traditions believe that the dream state is where souls meet without the masks of the ego. A dream about someone can sometimes be a genuine encounter of energies, a meeting place where the strict laws of physics do not apply. Think of your sleep as the night shift of the heart. While your body rests, your spirit goes to work, trying to untangle the knots that the day could not loosen. Seeing them there is a sign that the imprint they left on you is etched deep, beyond the logic of the daylight. It is a reminder that some connections are rooted in the soil of the psyche, and they cannot be weeded out simply by willing them away. They must be understood, interpreted, and eventually integrated into the story of who you are becoming. The breadcrumbs of the universe. Have you ever decided to stop thinking about someone only to have the universe immediately throw their name in your face? You might see a stranger wearing their favorite shirt, hear their specific song on the radio in a store, or glance at the clock exactly at the time that matches their birthday. These are synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem to defy statistical probability. When this happens, it can feel like the universe is conspiring to keep them in your thoughts, refusing to let the memory fade. From a psychological perspective, this is partly the reticular activating system, RAS, at work. Your brain is primed to notice what is important to you, filtering out millions of bits of data to highlight what matches your internal focus. Because they are on your mind, you see them everywhere. But deeper than that, in the realm of spirituality, these signs can be seen as breadcrumbs. They are markers on the path, suggesting that this connection still holds value for your learning. Metaphorically, it is as if the universe is using a highlighter pen on the text of your daily life. It is circling these moments to make you pause. These signs are not necessarily a command to reach out or to get back together. Often, they are simply reminders to acknowledge the love or the lesson that existed. They are prompts to look inward and ask why the universe needs you to remember this frequency right now. Perhaps there is a quality associated with them, resilience, softness, ambition, that you need to embody in this precise moment of your life. The catalyst for internal growth. Sometimes, a person lives in your thoughts not because they are your destiny in a romantic sense, but because they are the primary agent of your transformation. We often confuse the messenger with the message. The pain, the longing, or the confusion they trigger in you is actually the friction required to polish the diamond of your soul. If they were easy to forget, you would remain stagnant. The fact that they are unforgettable forces you to grow, to expand, and to deepen your understanding of yourself. This is the spiritual concept of the soul catalyst. These people enter our lives to break open the shells of our egos. The conflict you feel, the obsessive thoughts, are the heat of the kiln. They are burning away what is no longer true for you. If you are constantly thinking about how they hurt you, you are learning boundaries. If you are thinking about how much you loved them, you are learning about the capacity of your heart. They are the friction that creates the fire of change. Consider the grain of sand inside the oyster. It is an irritant, an intruder. The oyster does not want it there. But in order to deal with the discomfort, the oyster coats it, layer by layer, until it becomes a pearl. This person in your thoughts is that grain of sand. The mental energy you spend on them is the process of creating the pearl. The end result will be a treasure of wisdom and maturity that belongs entirely to you, long after the person themselves has faded from the narrative. The invisible tether of energy. There is a belief in many spiritual traditions that when we form a deep bond with someone, we create an energetic cord, an invisible tether that connects solar plexus to solar plexus. This cord allows for the transfer of emotional energy. One of the clearest signs of this tether is feeling drained for no reason, or conversely, feeling a sudden rush of energy that doesn't belong to you. When this person lives in your thoughts, it is often because energy is still flowing back and forth along this conduit. This flow can keep the mental connection alive even when the physical connection is dead. You might feel a sudden urge to check on them, or an inexplicable worry, which is the result of a tug on this invisible line. Psychologically, this is the residue of deep attachment. We do not easily untangle our nervous system from those we have relied upon. The brain pathways formed during the relationship are deep grooves, like riverbeds. Even when the water stops flowing, the shape of the river remains. Imagine two climbers connected by a safety rope. Even if they are out of sight of each other, on different faces of the mountain, a slip by one is felt by the other. The rope goes taut. That is what is happening in your mind. The thoughts are the vibrations traveling down that rope. Recognizing this allows you to visualize that cord. You can choose to clean it, to honor it, or to gently untie it, but ignoring it only makes the tugging feel more confusing and chaotic. The paradox of detachment. The final, and perhaps most difficult sign, is the realization that the more you try to force them out of your head, the more they stay. This brings us to the spiritual law of surrender and the psychological reality of resistance. What you resist persists. By fighting the thoughts, by judging yourself for having them, you are actually feeding them energy. You are giving the memory of this person more power than it naturally holds. The persistence of their image is a lesson in the art of letting go. True detachment is not an act of force, it is an act of relaxation. It is not about walling off the memory, but about allowing it to flow through you without grabbing onto it. When they come into your mind, the invitation is to observe the thought without engaging with it. It is a practice of mindfulness. The universe is teaching you that you cannot possess people and you cannot control the past. You can only control your reaction to the present moment. Think of it like holding water in your cupped hands. If you clench your fists tightly to try and keep the water, it all squirts out and you are left with nothing. But if you relax your hands, forming a gentle cup, the water stays. The memory of this person is the water. The lesson is to hold the memory gently, with gratitude and spaciousness, rather than with the tight grip of need or fear. When you stop fighting the thought, it loses its intrusive power and becomes just another cloud passing through the vast sky of your mind. You have walked through the landscape of your own mind, and hopefully, you now see that the presence of this person in your thoughts is not a sign of madness, but a testament to your capacity for connection. You are not weak for remembering. You are strong for feeling. The human heart is not a machine that deletes files with a single click. It is a garden that grows everything it has ever been planted with. The roots of this connection go deep because they were meant to teach you something vital about who you are. The path forward is not one of erasure, but of integration. Do not try to surgically remove them from your history. Instead, try this simple, elegant practice. When the thought of them arises, do not slam the door. Instead, say to the thought, "I see you. I honor the part of me that loves you. And now, I return to myself. Release with awareness. Observe with wisdom. Welcome what your soul reveals." By doing this, you take the energy that was tied up in the past and you bring it back to the present where your true power lives. The person may live in your thoughts, but remember, you live in the present. You are the architect of your own peace. If this message resonated with the depths of your story, and if you felt a layer of weight lift from your shoulders, I invite you to continue this journey of self-discovery with me. Subscribe to the channel and share this video with someone who might be silently carrying a name in their heart. Together, let us learn to carry our memories not as burdens, but as bridges to a wiser, deeper self.